Hello everyone, how are you doing today? I hope you had a chance to go through the material, whatever we did yesterday. I hope you had a chance to look at the glossary, look at the syllabus, look at some of the sample questions. I hope you had a I hope you had the opportunity to go through the material, the running notes. I hope you are in a better position today than yesterday. That would be my big thing. So yesterday what all did we look at? We looked at how is the exam organized. We looked at what are the different types of questions that you will get. We talked a little bit about the K levels or the cognitive levels. What we mean by this is the syllabus is very clear. It says this is the amount of time you should be spending on each of these sections. So, yesterday, what are the main things we looked at? We looked at why is testing necessary? And we realized testing is necessary because even today failures are fairly common. So we started looking at the root cause of failures. So we started using, so what we started doing is we did a root cause analysis. So we said, okay, we'll come up with some kinds of words to distinguish where defects happen. So we all make mistakes. And so those mistakes get converted into defects. And when a customer encounters this defect in a live environment, it is called a failure, just to distinguish between where in the life cycle it is being found. So we looked at the error, defect, failure cycle yesterday. We also looked at what exactly is testing. We saw what is the definition of quality. We said quality is if the user is happy with whatever we give him, that is a very good starting point for quality. We talked about risks. We saw how testing reduces the risk, or it helps in reducing the risk, because before the customer uses the product, the testers are test driving it or using the product systematically, rigorously checking the product. We know we have lots of constraints when we are doing a project. So we have this triangle of resources that we looked at yesterday: quality, time, and money. So there's these three constraints and the number of features to be developed. If there's less money, less time, quality and features will be affected. We looked at that. We also looked at how we looked a little bit at static testing. Did we look at static testing yesterday? We looked at what is the completion criteria, how priorities and risk will help us define the completion criteria. Okay, we didn't look at static testing. I will start again today. So with what is testing? So testing is an activity to reduce risk and improve quality by finding defects. There's one important thing. We'll be going through this particular word again and again: test objectives. It is something we don't really think about when we do testing, but it's something that's a takeaway for us. Test objective means what are we really looking for? Are we looking to find out if there are more defects? Are we looking at to gain a confidence? Are we trying to see there are 100 requirements, 75 requirements have been met by the system? That level of confidence. Are we looking at response time? Is this a performance testing? So testing objectives are very, very important. Usually the testing objectives are documented in the test policy and the test strategy document. So if you're working, this is a good time to go and look back at those documents and see the policy, because the test objectives for an organization come in the test policy and the test strategy documents. If you're not working, you've just started a study of this, try and see if any of your friends can get you a copy of this documents, because they give you the testing objectives very clearly. We talked a little bit about testing and debugging. Don't developers do testing? That's a question that people fairly ask. People commonly ask me. Yes, developers do unit testing. Developers also do integration testing. We'll be looking at both these in the next chapter in detail. But we are talking about defects that are logged during system testing and user acceptance testing. Whenever there's a defect that is found, that is logged in a system, what the developer will do is he will go and look at his program. He will go through the lines of code where the defect is occurring. Just to give you an example, which I didn't give yesterday, I forgot to mention yesterday. Let's consider this program logic. Okay. If the age is less than 21, a person cannot get the license. If a person's age is greater than 21, he can get a license. So what happens when during testing, you will ask the person for his date of birth. So based on today's date, you will calculate the program will calculate the date of birth. So if the date is less than 21, he will not get a license. If the age is greater than 21, they continue with the application process for the license. But what happens if a tester is really intelligent and says, today is 22nd of June 2015. His birthday was 22nd of June 2015, which means his age is equal to 21 today. So this condition, age is equal to 21. This is a condition that has not been considered in the code. So we don't know how this application will behave when you give a test data like this. So what will the programmer do now if you log a bug like this? He will go and he will fix this and say age is greater than 21. So he will add an extra line of code saying age equal to 21. He just adds this extra equal to and that fixes the bug. This equal to will fix the bug. So this process where a developer goes and says he will go and decide which line of code has caused the problem. That process is called debugging. The testers are not involved in debugging. We as testers, we do not look at lines of code. We are only interested in the application as a black box. So we are looking at an application like a black box. It's very important to know the difference between debugging and testing. And again, this is one of the questions that you will be asked. What is debugging? What is testing? So just to understanding these two terms, who does debugging, who does testing? Testing can also be done by a developer. He can do unit testing, he can do integration testing. But testers typically do not do debugging. Debugging is the process of finding out what exactly caused the defect. This can be asked in many different ways in the exam. Again, this exam is very, very clear in that we say we understand the terms very clearly. Like what are the different words, what are the different terms, what are the different meanings for the words, what does this concept really mean? Okay, so when a defect is fixed, there are two kinds of testing that we do, don't we? One testing is to make sure that the defect is actually fixed. The term for that kind of testing is confirmation testing. So confirmation testing is when a defect is fixed, we do exactly repeat the steps for whatever defect has been fixed. We retest the defect and confirm that defect has been fixed or not fixed. It's called confirmation testing. We also do one more kind of testing, right? A defect fix could have broken other parts that were working successfully before. It can happen, right? So what happens? We say we do some amount of regression testing in the area. We make sure nothing is being broke by the software fix. Sometimes we can ask our developers, you've done this defect fix, what areas should I check? But we use our common sense as well and do the amount of tests needed for it. So whenever there's a defect fix, we are looking at two kinds of testing, confirmation testing and regression testing. Regression testing basically is we are testing, do regression testing, one, when defects are fixed. Two, we also check it if an environment has changed. You move it to a different platform. Things like that. Whenever there's a change, regression testing comes into picture. We just run a set of tests, systematically run a set of tests to ensure nothing's broke, nothing's affected by the changes. So whenever the word changes come, either it could be because the code has changed, the environment has changed, we talk about regression testing. So now we talk about something called static testing and dynamic testing. So far, whatever I have spoken to you, testing means we actually run the application, right? What do? We take the application, install it, open it, and start doing some steps on it. But there is another kind of testing that we can do, which has been proven to find as many defects and reduce the number of defects. That is reviews. What does the word review mean? Review means if you have a requirements document, going through the requirements document systematically to find out if there are any defects. Excuse me.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Madhu here. How are you?
Hi, Madhu.
Hi, Sita. Just I wanted to say hi to all the people.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening, Revati, Bindu, and Nivedita. Okay, so just if you have any queries, daytime you can contact me. Okay, Sita, however, because she is in UK, because of time difference, she may not be able to support. But daytime, if you need any support, I can be able to help you. Okay, right, today I am on off, so that's why I'm able to see pop up here, and I will request Sita to continue. I will log off now. Okay, thank you, Sita.
Madhu. Thank you.
Yes, bye bye.
For those of you who don't know Madhu, Madhu is the person who